Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got an episode of Mailbox, the series where you guys can ask me any question you want. You just leave it in the comments section down below, and I will pick some of the top rated comments to answer on the next episode of Mailbox. The first question today comes from Dutch Caesar. He says, "Hey Level, which weapon/vehicle attachments would you like to see in Battlefield 4? They don't have to exist." This is something I've actually thought about quite a bit. The difference between Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3 in terms of gun customization was quite drastic. You could do a lot more in Battlefield 3, but compared to a lot of games that have come out, say in 2012, we had a lot of really interesting weapon customization options. Medal of Honor and Blacklight Retribution did a great job of giving you huge amounts of gun customization options without making it too daunting. Although you might think that Blacklight Retribution had a pretty advanced gun customization setup screen, they still allowed you to pick pre-set up weapon types, so you didn't have to mess around with like picking the exact kind of stock and barrel mods that you wanted. In Battlefield 4, I'd just like to see a lot more of the same. You know, they've already included flashlights, laser sights, infrared scopes. There isn't a lot that they're leaving out in terms of technology, but I'd like to see different versions of the same pieces of equipment. We've only got 2 red dot sight options in Battlefield 3. Medal of Honor had a huge variety of different sights that were like tiny little reflex sights, larger reflex sights, different countries' reflex sights. I mean, there's just a lot of variety that you can have within each kind of scope, each kind of attachment. You could have a different kind of laser attachment, you could have different targeting reticles in the center of the sights. I'd just like to get a little bit more in depth and offer a lot more options within the same fields that we already have available. The next question comes from DeRoquit. He says, "LevelCap, what are your thoughts on the Arma 2 or DayZ mod? Have you ever played them, and if not, why not?" You know, I've never played DayZ or Arma, but I have watched a lot of YouTube videos on DayZ, and I've been pretty entertained by them. You know, the game looks interesting. I like how there's such a huge risk factor in the game, since if you die, you lose all your equipment. And I have played some games like that. Although it wasn't a first-person shooter, I played Eve for a while, and that game had a huge risk factor. If you died in it, it could mean weeks worth of work lost. So if you ever got into a battle, your heart would just start pumping, and it got really intense. So I feel like I've experienced that kind of super risky scenario. I wasn't too impressed with the look of the zombies in the game. It seems like once you figure out how to deal with zombies, they're just sort of like something that you look at, not really a factor that you have to deal with too much. It seemed more like a PvP world, and I'd like something that involves zombies a little bit more. But again, I haven't played the game, so you know, I'm already critiquing the thing. I thought I might give it a try when the standalone version comes out and see what that's like. But until then, you know, I've been pretty content with watching YouTube videos on it, because they cut out all the boring parts and show you the entertaining stuff, and I feel like it's a huge time commitment, and I'm pretty comfortable with just playing aside in Battlefield at the moment. The next question comes from FPS Yarrow. He says, "Hey LevelCap, have you ever played the campaign in Battlefield 3? If so, did you enjoy it?" Now, to answer your question, yes, I did play the campaign, but I did not finish it. I believe I played the game up until around the jet level, or maybe the level after the jet level, and it really just seemed like it was designed to be sort of a roller coaster ride rather than interesting, tactical, fun, immersive gameplay. The AI was terrible. The levels had just weird things in it where you would peek around a corner and an RPG would hit you instantly, killing you and set you back like to a different checkpoint. And you didn't feel like you did anything tactically wrong. It just had kind of wonky, weird AI that would somehow randomly kill you in the middle of a crazy battle. Like, I remember getting hit with an RPG as I'm pushing up with like a huge group of troops in one level, and it was just this random RPG out of nowhere, like hit me right in the face, and it set me back like 5 minutes, and I was like, well, that was kind of lame, you know. I felt like I was doing exactly what I should be doing, and I just randomly happened to die from it. Which I guess you could make an argument sometimes that happens in war, but again, if you're trying to design a game, more specifically a single player, you should try and avoid random deaths, you know, just to avoid pissing off your audience. But to end a otherwise long ramble, I quickly realized that the single player was more of a visual experience, eye candy, less tactical, and that the game was really about the multiplayer at least the multiplayer experience for me. The next question comes from King Ponk. He says, should DayZ release modding tools with the next DLC? Yes, absolutely. Every multiplayer game should have modding tools. There's no reason not to have modding tools. Basically, they kind of allow the community to design the game, modify the game, and you get much more longevity out of the multiplayer experience. Is DayZ going to release modding tools with the next DLC? No, they're not. You know, they would have done it by now if they're going to, and they've just missed their opportunity. They should have had modding tools in the game from the start. They should have had a system set up to support modding. Hopefully it's something that they will look into for Battlefield 4, though I just don't know. It seems like something that DayZ doesn't really care about. Modding is really a community thing, and you know, the DayZ's relationship with the community as of late has just been so bad. It seems like they're just going to make the game that they want to make, not really worry about what people want to do. And it's really unfortunate because Battlefield 1942 had desert combat, which was basically Battlefield 2 before Battlefield 2 came out. It was modernized modernized Battlefield on the 1942 engine, where you had all the modern assault rifles, you had jets, you had an AC-130 even that players could fly around. It was really just way ahead of its time, and I'm sure DayZ borrowed heavily from that mod when designing Battlefield 2. It also increased the longevity of the game hugely, and basically people started playing Desert Combat just as much, if not more, than 1942 at certain points. You know, there's no point not to have modding tools. You know, take the Arma engine. DayZ is a mod for Arma, and it boosted the sales like threefold for the whole Arma campaign, and it's basically put Arma on the map with people who would otherwise not even know what it was. Now imagine the Frostbite 2 engine with all the destructive capabilities. Imagine the modding community at having the freedom to just take advantage of that and make whatever they wanted. You know, it really is a poor decision on DayZ's part not to have modding tools implemented to Battlefield 3. Hopefully they'll learn from their mistakes, because really just taking the time to put these tools in there could be so good for their title, just increasing the longevity. And even if somebody comes out with an awesome mod for the game, then they could even increase the exposure and sales of the Battlefield 3 engine. The next question comes from Punked Dot. He says, hey Level, I'm very fond of the hardcore mode in Battlefield 3. Personally, I just like it better. Did you ever try it out? And if so, how did you like it? What parts do you think are good about hardcore mode and what parts are bad? Any chance of you making a hardcore video at some time to show the differences? Yes, I have played hardcore mode, and I'm not crazy about it. You know, there's some things that I like about it, like not having 3D spotting, and just having to rely on your sight a lot more for acquiring targets, stuff like that. What I don't like about it is the reduced health and not compensating for weapon damage. You know, they just take 100% health and they reduce it down to 60%. Every gun in this game has been balanced in accordance with 100% health. Assault rifles do 25 damage maximum. That means in close quarters, they're going to be a 4-shot kill for most people. Machine guns, heavy machine guns, will do 34 damage maximum. That means with 100% health, they're a 3-shot kill. Now you reduce everything down to 60% health, all of a sudden, all the weapon balance just goes way out the window. Everything just seems kind of weird, different, and it's just not balanced properly. So ultimately, that's my big gripe with hardcore mode, but I may revisit it and do a few videos on it at some point in the future. Anyway, that wraps it up for this episode of Mailbox. Don't forget to leave your questions down below, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to rate the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.